We are back on MorningLine talking homelessness in Nashville with regard to the fact that the city is now going to invest some $50,000, not what I'm saying, $50 million, not 50,000, $50 million in federal pandemic money. That money was there from when we went through the pandemic, and the mayor and the city council says $50 million will now go toward trying to find a way to get more affordable housing in the city. April Calvin and Kimberly Bowden are with us this morning, and we're taking your phone calls. They're in the middle of all this, and they both kind of chastised me during the break just to be sure to say, listen, we want to make sure we celebrate the landlords, and yes, there are lousy ones out there, but let's celebrate the very good ones that are out there that are going to do this. As I said when we went to break, landlords in a lot of ways are the key to this, that they be involved. If they all say, no, we're not interested and turn their back on this, that's a problem.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you're convinced, though, that there's going to be numbers they can call. Walk me through that a little bit on these landlords and just the ones you want to celebrate.
Okay. Well, the ones we want to celebrate right now are the ones that are have agreed to lower barriers and are going to continue to lower barriers.
Do they say why they've agreed?
Well, of course, you know, we all know someone or have met someone or seen someone, you know, that has been unhoused, you know, some of our unsheltered neighbors. And so a lot of them, you know, have experienced that. We do have a lot of landlords that do reach out to us to let us know that they've come across someone. So I think it's just people caring for others. You know, a lot of our landlords that we currently have, they show that they do care for others and want to give others an opportunity to be housed.
Yeah, and there are. We've done some stories on them. That's fantastic.
Definitely.
All right, we'll talk about the help that's going to be there more, and we've got some numbers to give out. But let's take Ann next. Ann's always got good thoughts on this. Good morning, Ann.
Good morning. I've got three things.
Okay.
First, the demographics of who's living on our streets has changed significantly in the last 5 years. And we have families with 5 and 6 children on the street with no housing. Secondly, I spent the better part of the last 18 months assisting people displaced, and I'll use River Chase as one example. When a person is displaced, not only do they have to find new housing, they have to pay someone usually to assist to get them moved. They have furniture that, too, has to be stored somewhere. Normally, it's storage shed. They don't have the funds for. Thirdly, these people have to cover the cost of everything before and after rent is asked for. And we do not have housing for these people, nor do they have the funds to even get moved after they've been told 30 days and you're out on the street. And I'll finally end with, as a landlord, I spent the last 12 months letting nonprofits use a piece of rental property because I'm a scrupulous landlord. If they want to assist someone, they're doing it now because they are a decent human being. And the incentives that the landlords are being given will bring more greed and not more housing for our homeless that need somewhere to go. This $50 million the mayor's given, none of it is going to be assisting these people where they really need it, unless you ladies can convince me otherwise, because we have landlords that have screwed residents for the last 24 to 36 months, and now we have more people on our streets than ever before. And that's all I have to say on the subject, and y'all have a good day.
Thank you, Ann. All right, how do you want to take that?
Well, I'll start with there are resources and services that's inside of this $50 million. About $25 million of it is what I would consider support services. So 25 is affordable housing, and then 25 would be the support services that go along with that. So the mental health counseling, the A&D, peer-to-peer mentoring, landlord engagement, low barrier housing collective. But also nonprofits are, there's about a $4 million bucket for nonprofits to have a competitive process of a grant writing process to to help with some of the minor things that go along with this. So I heard her comment about them needing money for move-in cost and moving their furniture, or even some of our unhoused neighbors just obtaining furniture. And that's something that's new that's in this landlord incentive as well. So the moving cost along with purchasing furniture, and then some minor repairs. What we know is there's landlords like, I believe her name was Ann on the call, that they have property that they would like to rent or would like to utilize for a service like this, but maybe it needs minor repairs and they're not able to bring it up to scale with the repairs that are needed. So there's funds in there for that as well. So the support services is a definite. Housing First is more about the support services than it is about the housing.
It is, huh? Just getting, because, well, and that's dealing with the people who are going to move in.
Yes.
And we talked about that, and you know, some of the folks out there that, you know, are happy that the money's being spent, but they still worry again, and that's such an emphasis on what about the people who just choose not to leave, choose not to give up where they happen to be living. And I know you don't have necessarily a solution to that. You're going to go out into the community and try to get them to say, hey, look, we have this opportunity you want. But just those that choose not to.
Sometimes it's about finding the right choice, the right time, the right person, you know. Whether if it's that outreach worker that hasn't connected with them, then we find another outreach worker. Or you go out with a team. So just needing to be able to change your approach. You can't be so rigid that you can't reach, you know, the person that's the most vulnerable or that has the most need. Okay,
and yes, you don't give up.
Don't give up.
That's what it comes down to on that.
Give up.
I'm looking at the flyer here, Kimberly, that kind of just breaks this all down. Is this low barrier housing collective? Will this flyer be going out to landlords, or what is this all about now here?
Yes, so this information is a flyer that I do give out to landlords. This information is also online for landlords to see, but these are just some of the things that we were talking earlier on the incentivizing the landlord part. The sign-on bonuses, of course, are something that we're able to offer. There's a mitigation fund that's going to help to cover any losses that, you know, maybe the tenant has to move out early, or maybe there are some damages. That mitigation fund is going to come in and help cover some of those. We do have mediation, so you know, when it comes to maybe if there's some problems going on with one of the tenants, we don't want them to get evicted, so we're going to provide mediation.
Like an ombudsman or something. Yes, there's going to be mediation then?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, I bet you there's a lot of people who are renting that would love to have a mediator sometimes. Right? In the news business, we hear about it all the time. But yeah, if there's an issue here with, or either the landlord could go to the mediator or the tenant could go to the mediator if there's an issue. All right, I apologize for interrupting. Go on.
No, you're good. So yeah, so that's something that's definitely needed. Some of the support services, as we just spoke about, those wraparound services, that we're going to make sure that we're having those tenants, you know, having all of the support that they need, mental health or whatever the case may be, from the outside. And then one of the biggest things is that, you know, we've built a wide applicant pool, so that helps the landlords. They don't have to advertise, you know, outside. They have a wide applicant pool that we're going to help match them with someone that meets the requirements, someone that they'll be able to work with. And
interesting. Okay, so the applicant. Okay, give me an idea. Now, I don't know if you have numbers yet, but how big do you think this applicant pool will be? And we're talking about these are people that will be homeless that are looking maybe to get in with some of these landlords. How many? Would you say applicant pool? Which is kind of interesting. So you'll have a whole list, and you'll have kind of a background of maybe where they want to live, what they need, what they're looking for. As you heard Ann said, there are some families out there with children. There's others that may just be some single guy, you know, that's looking for a place. So
currently, the last year's point in time count was, I would say, right under 2,000 participants that were either sheltered or living outdoors at that one day, that one point in time. What we know is
that's probably low, right?
Yeah, it's probably low. That's what we know. So I would say maybe between 2,500 and, you know, that's probably a better ballpark figure. And that's the applicant pool that we have, the database. It's called the HMIS, Homeless Management Information System, right? So HMIS. In that database, that's where a lot of our nonprofits, that's what I really want to say, a lot of the shout out goes to the nonprofits, the agencies, the faith-based initiatives that are doing this hard work. So they're entering people into that system. They're providing the resources. Our partners are the ones that's providing the ongoing support services. As you hear me keep talking about the RFP process, they will be the ones that will go after these funds to help provide the services.
Okay, and you said 2,500 maybe, and again, we don't have a hard number on that necessarily, but 2,500 that could end up being in the application process. So if that's the case, as we sit here right now, and I know some of these, you know, dwellings will be created in the years to come now, how much, as it sits now, I guess it's really needed, how many available properties are there now?
I don't know. I think that overall for our community, we're at about a 3% vacancy rate. So 3%
vacancy rate. Is that in general for everything then?
I think that's in general for everything.
Okay,
so,
including really expensive places.
Yes, yes.
So 3%. So yeah, there really isn't a lot of space right now for, you know, 25.
And that's why that interim gap housing is huge. How do we help people move a little bit faster? We also have hotels. That's another part of that interim gap housing, where the hotels are willing to turn their units into permanent housing options. So it's helping to create doors and beds for people to live in.
Oh, really? So some hotels can get involved with this as well. When you say permanent, meaning they would stay there permanently, or is this where they would be units that would be for people to live in for a while until they get into another location?
A little bit of both. So we do have a hotel that allows, they've turned their, so it's no longer a hotel, it's a permanent housing option. They've turned their hotel into a permanent housing option, and they rent, for the last 2 years now, they've rented to some of our most vulnerable Nashville citizens. And then as subsidies become available or rapid rehousing funds are available, they're able to move into more permanent options with ongoing lease. So.
Oh, okay, hotels. This is interesting. And then I guess when I think about developers, you think about large apartment complexes alike. What about the idea of you know, group homes, people that own homes, or you know, it can be a landlord. Yeah, shared homes. I know of a couple of them. I live out in Wilson County, Lebanon. There's a couple of them just off the square where several individuals live in a house. I guess they have their own room. They maybe share a kitchen. But I mean, how about something?
I think that's great. That's creating community. You know, if you're moving someone from outdoors away from their network and their support system that they've created outdoors, it's great to move them into a situation where they have that as an option so that they're not isolating. So that is an option and an opportunity.
But is that something that you guys, they would be possibly able to get some of the money through that process as well?
And we do have some landlords or property managers or agencies that do shared housing here in Nashville, like Woodbine. They're a great partner. They have a lot of shared housing throughout Nashville.
Yeah, I see that for a lot of folks that works. All right, listen, we'll take a break. We'll come back. Our final segment with our guests. Any more phone calls if you'd like to join us, talking homelessness in Nashville. $50 million going to address affordable housing. Our guests, last segment right after this. Stay with us.